Hello once again, and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel, where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to Surviving Romance, and in this episode, I'm going to show you husbands how to make a breakfast bagel sandwich that'll blow your wife's mind, alright? So, what are you going to need? Let's start with the obvious. You're going to need some bagels. Now, we went with a a generic brand a Hawaiian bagel from Walmart. Okay, use whatever you like. And since this is for our other halves, find out what she likes for bagels. Okay, and then get some sliced cheese. Um, get some get some eggs. Get some butter. And of course, we're going to need some sort of a meat product of some sort. We went with a prepackaged sliced ham. It was already cooked. All we had to do was get it out of the package, kind of let it sit on the countertop, and come to room temperature and slap it out on the sandwich. But if you don't want to do that, you can go with Canadian bacon, like some restaurants do, or you could go with bacon, just regular bacon. Which is a great choice. You could go with sausage patties, or, believe it or not, just go with what you like, okay? So there you have all of that, okay? Now, first things first, we're going to lightly toast our bagels. Throw them in a toaster oven. You could do that under the broiler if you'd like, but lightly toast your bagels, just like they do in the fast food restaurants. And then you're gonna, as soon as they come out, you're gonna lightly butter your bagels, just like they do in the fast food restaurants. Believe it or not, this is actual techniques that you would find in a fast food chain. Believe it or not, most of the time what they'll do is they'll melt down the butter and they'll put it in a squeeze bottle and they'll lightly squeeze it onto the bagel, which is for speed. But we don't have to do that. We don't have to go that far, okay? And we can dose it out a little bit lighter than they sometimes do, okay? Now, you see the little pan in the foreground. First things first, okay? The little pan in the foreground is what I would definitely suggest for doing some sort of a hard fried egg for our sandwiches. Because we want it uniform. Sandwiches are supposed to be a modular means of sustenance. So do yourself a favor, if you haven't got one of these pans, they're really, really cheap. In most cases, anywhere from $5 to $15 in the worst case scenario. Most of the time I see them for about $5 to $10. So if you don't have one, definitely get one, okay? It's going to take you a little bit more time, but well worth it. So we have a pat of butter in our pan. We melted that down till it just started to foam, and it'll start kind of giving off a slightly nutty aroma. We're going to crack our egg on a flat surface. We're going to pop it into the pan, and then we're going to pop the yolk. For those that like runny yolks, this is definitely not the time for a runny yolk. Again, sandwiches are supposed to be a modular means of sustenance, so you definitely want to take the time, pop that yolk, and make sure that your yolks are done as thoroughly as possible. I'm not saying that runny yolks are a bad thing when done at home. I'm saying this is definitely not the time when you're talking about a sandwich, okay? Already, you see the sliced cheese going down on the bagel. We put a slice of cheese on each half, okay? On each slice. So a slice of cheese for each slice. And got the ham on there, and we just left that out on the counter long enough to come up to room temperature. It's already cooked, so we really don't have to worry about any nasty other stuff. Along with that, ham is usually cured long before it's cooked, okay? Same thing with bacon, same thing with sausage. A lot of that stuff, a lot of your pork product is you don't have to worry about that as much as we used to back in, I think it like 91 was the last real case we really need to worry about that. Okay, so now time for the flip. I am not I'm not one of those hot shot TV chefs. I could do it with a wrist pop. I'm going to use a spatula. If you're like me, do the same exact thing. Okay, And you'll see once the egg comes into the into the, a closer shot when I go to lay it on the sandwich, um, what it's supposed to look like. So I'm not going to hound you all too terribly much. Just, again, make sure you cook that bad boy completely through, because we don't want a runny yolk. You might see kind of a darkened yolk when you bite in. Maybe that's where it wasn't quite, but that's perfectly fine. Um, by that standard, I mean, we're talking that the egg is still done enough, but we just don't want any yolkiness when we bite into it running out. Again, sandwich modular means of sustenance. All right. I think you all are beginning to understand what I'm getting at by now. All right. And in this episode, these sandwiches are extremely filling. So I mean, I've got a big appetite, so I was only able to eat one, and Princess Faye barely got through hers. Okay. These are really good. These are really good. Now, I mean, I know there's probably others on YouTube who have done this, but for the purposes of surviving romance, I want to stress the fact that husbands, a lot of our wives nowadays are very, very hardworking. They're, some of them are, professionals, and get up bright and early and go to some sort of an office job and put in a lot of serious hours. And as husbands, maybe it's high time we start taking the initiative and looking at our own other half's well-being. If they're having to hit the drive-through, and because of the fast-paced life that we end up being forced to live, this is not a good thing. So husbands, now is definitely the time. If our other halves, they've got to eat, we want them to eat, we want them to stay healthy, get up with them, make them a sandwich like this. Show your other half how much they mean to you, okay? Where you're taking the time out of your morning to make sure that she is properly taken care of, that she goes to work, because breakfast is still one of the most important meals of the day. Again, I can't stress, how many times do I have to say it, husbands? If she's worth it, you'll do it. Of course, it is a new age, so whoever your other half is, if they're worth it, you'll do it, okay? Because I know it is a new age. Again, I want to reiterate, when I say husbands, however it works in your relationship, whether it's, again, your traditional man and woman, or maybe it's a man and man, maybe it's a woman and woman. And of course, now we're starting to see other sort of unusual relationships pop up. Whatever it is to you, that's what you stick with. All right, so that brings us to a good spot where we can start winding this video down. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button and hit that subscribe button, okay? And if, you just hit the subscribe button for the very first time, be sure to hit that bell icon, because the subscribe button doesn't mean what it used to here on YouTube like it once did. So be sure to do that, and you'll be notified every time we upload a brand new video. If you're able to, be sure to check out the Patreon account at patreon.com/PrinceMagnum and donate if you can. If you can't, hey, I understand. By all means, if you are able to, we always appreciate it, and the money goes back into our project cars and help further the education process that we do here on the Prince Magnum channel. All right. And as always, for every last one of you out there, get out there and work on a project. I don't care what it is, just do something with yourself. Remember, idle hands and a creative mind go together like oil and water. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet and do something special for them today. And as always, for all of you out there, no matter who you are or what you're experiencing, if no one out there has told any of you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Thank you.
man freaked out.